Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a giant sword nether portal because everyone wants to go to the nether, but no one does it in style. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, onto the tutorial. Since we need a pallet to build this, or else we're just going to have obsidian and nothing else, and that's not a sword, we're going to be using polished blackstone, blocks of diamonds as an accent. Although that's incredibly expensive, you might want to choose something cheaper, such as gold or just anything else. Dark prismarine and obsidian for the actual sword. Now, for the surrounding environment, we need some soul soil and, of course, some flint and steel to create some soul fire, because the nether waste biome is too overrated anyways. Why not let's do a soul sand valley? Then just find an area. Doesn't have to be too big, it can be pretty hilly too. So a small area, about 5 by 5, which has a lot of vertical space, will work splendid. So find your area and get your materials ready. So once you've chosen your area, start building your nether portal. Preferably make it 5 blocks wide, so that way there's 3 blocks of middle space, because we want to have an odd amount of blocks, because that's just a general rule while building and will make our lives a lot easier. Then you can go a maximum of 23 blocks high with your nether portal. So just choose a random amount of blocks that seems like it will work good for you, and just go up. Once you've gone up, you can light the portal and see what's on the other side. Since the nether portal noise is pretty loud, I won't go through the nether portal, but check what's on the other side just to make sure it's a good location. Once you've investigated the other side, which conveniently for me was right next to a soul sand valley, it's time to decorate the portal. So, of course, we want to do the sword, but let's make the environment cooler than it already is, because right now just some grass or whatever you live in. So, replace the environment with your nether base block, that be nylium, basalt blackstone, netherrack, etc., and just replace the area with your chosen block. So, all you have to do is replace the area. It's very simple, and progressively as it gets farther and farther away from the portal, it should get grassier and grassier. So, something like this, so that way it seems like it's spread and now it's gotten slower. So that way it just seems like it spreads out of the nether portal. So, do that, and then we can do the sword. So, I've added the soul soil, and currently it's pretty untextured. So, a couple of things we can do is replacing swaths of it with soul sand, which we can grow nether warts on. This can give you a small amount of nether wart in a pinch, say you need to brew a potion, and it's just nicer to look at. But there's a downside. Walking on soul sand makes you go slow, so if you don't want to do that, it's understandable because you could technically get stuck next to a creeper on some soul sand, and that small slowdown might kill you. So, it's a small risk, but overall, it's not too significant, so I recommend adding. Along with that, crimson roots grow sparsely inside the soul sand valley anyways, so adding those is a pretty good idea. Overall, there's quite a bit you can do to decorate. So, with the soul sand added, I've also added the other decorations, the soul fire, the crimson roots, and the nether wart on the soul sand. So, overall, we have a pretty cool area forming. Now, we need to do the sword. And you have two options what you want to do with the sword. You can either have the sword end like this, so that way you can see part of the obsidian, or instead you could make the portal wider, or in this case I'm just going to shrink it for demonstration purposes. You could have it like this so you can't see the obsidian. I'm going to widen my portal, but it's up to you whether you want to do either of those things. So widen your portal if you want to see no obsidian, or don't if you want to see obsidian. With our widened portal, it's now time to decorate it. The first thing we should do is the blade itself. So, on top of the obsidian here, I'm going to stack up some dark prismarine, just like this. And the nether portal noises can be incredibly annoying, so you might want to break your portals, the actual portal part, so that way you don't go insane from the portal noises. So, place down a block here, and then surround it with other blocks. So, dark prismarine in the middle, and polished blackstone on the outside in my scenario. Then, for the sides of the blade, just use more of your dark or whatever block, your polished blackstone in this case, because remember, blades are meant to be sharp, so we want to make it look that way. So do this, and then we can move on to the next part. Now, if you did the hiding the obsidian trick I did, which involved widening the portal, you may have run into a problem where the blade is just simply too wide. If that happens, you might have to undo your decision, or you might have to change what you did for decorations, if not both to make it look good again. So I'm going to do both options, but remember, try to use as much you can in order to make the build more diverse. So dark prismarine and polished blackstone instead of just polished blackstone. So whenever you can, add more color. So I'm going to change the blade, and you should try adding more color and maybe even change your own blade. So I've reduced the length, well, the width of the sword, so that way it's not as hard to work with and just better looking in general. Now we should try adding little bits of color here and there. So adding small studs of dark prismarine or any other light accent block. Don't do diamond blocks, that's a waste of resources and isn't the best looking. If you have something like this, what you can do is just dot it around like this, and you can use some little tricks to make it look better, such as stairs and other things. If you're going to use stairs, then you're going to have to use less of them, because stairs take up quite a bit of room once you think about it, like this. So, once you do this, you can add little splashes of color here and there just by using some stairs and slabs, along with your lighter accent blocks. So, something like this looks pretty good. Once you finish it, it looks even better. So, I recommend doing this all the way down to the bottom. So, we now have these little studs across it, and although the blade may not actually work in cutting things anymore, it looks pretty decent now. So, with the way this is situated, we might have to extend the portal up a little bit, or if you built it extremely tall, then you might actually have to shrink it. So, now that we have this going on, we're going to have to increase its height by about 2 blocks looking at it, and we're going to have to do some accents again. So, something like this, and we can cover up the stuff again. So, something like this, and now that we can actually end the thing, just end it off with a little block right there. And now there's a true end to the blade, and we can get to the hilt and the handle. So, just do what you've been doing and finish it off right here by connecting it. Now, with this thing's top complete, we can now work on the hilt. So, what we should do is we should start by just connecting these things even more to create a central point for this. So, something like this, and we have just a little arrow, and that's a neat design right there. Then, now we can actually add our accent block, which is going to be a singular diamond block. So it's actually going to be 2 because both sides, or if you're really low on diamonds and still want to use them, just place it like this, and you still have the same thing, just sunken in. Then you should start extending outward. So build like this, and we can place stairs and we can go outward to create the little prongs that can help defend you from getting sliced in the fingers. So go outward and then go right about here. So we should start doing some stuff with the diamond block because it's kind of just sitting here. So if you're poor, you can do the middle thing, but it might actually work out even if you have diamonds to support the design. So what you could do is you could put some dark prismarine in here and surround it, or you might even want to grab a secondary block to surround it. say ice or just anything else. So try grabbing another block to surround the diamond block in here with. For the bronze, on the other hand, we should start by just going down again once we hit the middle. And as we go down, we can just, well, go down. Eventually, you should end them so that way you can go up again and eventually just finish the whole thing off. So just go down, then go up, and then connect it back to the diamond part. So before I finish off these little prongs here, what you should do is make sure that instead of just using full blocks, which will take way too much room, make it all stairs except on flat parts. Because what that means is you can create a unique effect in the middle where it appears more sunken in, which is always a good thing because the main thing of novice builders is they don't add enough depth into their build. So doing this will help immensely in making your build look better. So I've completed one side of this hilt, and what we should do is connect it up to the middle, which I've taken the diamond block out of in favor of putting it at the end of the handle. So we're going to just have it like this, and we're going to have to connect it up somehow. So if you can find out a way to connect it, then do it, because I cannot figure out a way for now, so I'm just going to leave it like this, and it might work. Once you've done one prong, do the other side, so that way we have a completed hilt, and your fingers, if you somehow manage to hold this giant nether portal sword, won't get sliced off. So I've mirrored both of the prongs to each other, so that way they're identical, which means we have two cool looking prongs. So some things we should do is one, just light up this little area right here. It's sunken in, so some glow lichen might help light it up a little. So try adding lighting in the sunken in parts. So repeat that on both sides. And then what you should do is add some little holes on the prongs. So fixing this real quick. What we should do, add prongs, little holes to them. And how we do this is punching out some parts and putting stairs. So looking like this, we can do that, and we can add smaller holes throughout it. So like this, we can add more holes, and just try adding that across your prongs because it makes it look cooler. Now, with some holes, it's time to do the final part, the handle. So, what we should do with the handle is extend the dark prismarine upwards. So, like this, and try to keep it symmetrical on all four sides. So, you might have to make some small changes so that way it works on all four instead of just two. And extend it up like this. So, obviously, you'd probably want to do this, but contrary to what you might think, it's not always the best decision. So, leaving the dark prismarine out like this might look better. So, don't immediately rush to do that, but instead, see what works best. Then, once you reach your desired part, then you can add your diamond block or other accent that you'd like to use. So, like this, and that could be the tip of the blade, or the diamond part could be the actual tip, so like this. Either way, end the blade somehow and create a handle. So, I've ended the blade in a little handle. I made it 3x3, but remember, the other thing where you don't have the corners on is still an option, so give it a shot if you want to. And we've ended it right here, diamond block, and stairs surrounding it. I'd flip my screen upside down so that way we can see the blade. However, it's very hard, so if you want to see the blade right side up, you're going to have to flip your screen or put your head upside down. Now, there's one thing we need to do, the other side. Since the Nether is pretty much Minecraft's underworld, and this is a portal to the underworld, we are going to need to end the blade in the underworld, also known as the Nether. So, go to the Nether side and build a portal there. Now, on the Nether side of the sword, we are just in the middle of somewhere. So we need to make this somewhere a sword. So break your existing nether portal that you used to. So now we're in the nether, which means we have to finish the bottom of the sword, as in the tip of the blade. Unfortunately, the spot that I marked with a diamond block where we came out of the portal is conveniently on some sort of slope. So it's going to be annoying. What you're going to have to do is create a portal from the top. So, like this, and just if you're on a slope, try to figure out what will work best for you. It's going to be difficult because, of course, slopes are just not good places to build nether portals. So only make it so big. So something like this, and repeat the pattern you had going on the sword. So just extend this up and start placing down your dark prismarine. So now we have the design on the other side, which means we can start working on the tip of the blade. Also, for the design, only do as much of it as you have to when you can see it. So you don't have to do blocks here because, of course, you can't see it. So just do as much as you have to do so that way it blends into the terrain. So down here, we're going to, of course, make it a little bit wider. But there's going to be basically two blades going down. So one will go down a lot faster and the other one will go slower. So like this, we're going to go down slower with this one, and what we want to do is have the blades converge in the middle. So use stairs so that way it's a smoother transition. And once you can get to the point of it, now your job's done. So right about here. And for the other two, you just have to go so very quick like this. So just converge really quick, and that's your job done for that. Now that we have the two little things converging into one right here, what we want to do is put glass behind this. So you might have a dilemma with the way the stairs align, like this. You can either just have a funny face, or you can have just more blackstone there. It's up to you. Either way, I recommend filling this up with some glass. So now the blade actually ends, and you can test if it actually goes onto the other side. If it doesn't, then that's very bad news because you're going to have to adjust one of the portals. So it's up to you which one you want to adjust if that unlikely scenario happens, but it's always a chance that it could happen. So try not to move your portal too far. So we have the Nether Portal Sword. It's a fancy way to get in and out of the Nether while just doing it in style. So I highly recommend building one of these because just a normal Nether portal, especially without decorations, is just on its own pretty lame. So having a giant sword to transport you to the Nether is just way better. So remember, if you just need to get to the Nether in style, not in speed, I recommend building one of these. So with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So remember, take care. Snapshot days every Wednesday. Gearsaw